misty forests, ancient stone paths, and quiet mountain villages. Hiking Japan's Kumano Kodo pilgrimage trail is magical, but planning for the trip, not so much. Welcome back to Couch to Peaks. I'm Linda, and I make videos about self-transformation through nature and hiking. In my last video, I shared my 4-day hiking experience on the Kumano Kodo Trail. In this video, I'm going to show you how to plan your own Kumano Kodo adventure, how to get there, when to go, how to plan your itinerary, where to stay, plus all the resources you'll need to plan your trip. So without further ado, let's get started. The Kumano Kodo is a network of ancient pilgrimage trails that span over 300 kilometers across the Kii Peninsula in Japan's Wakayama Prefecture. These pilgrimage trails have drawn emperors, religious and spiritual seekers for over 1,000 years, connecting 3 of Japan's most revered shrines through mountain paths that have remained virtually unchanged ever since. Along the Kumano Kodo, you'll pass through mountain villages that seem straight out of a Miyazaki film. Walk beneath towering bamboo groves and ancient cedar trees, and encounter countless sacred shrines and stone markers that have guided pilgrims for centuries. Here's a fun fact. The Kumano Kodo is one of only 2 pilgrimage routes in the world that's designated as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The other one is the Camino de Santiago in Spain. If you complete both trails, you get a special dual pilgrimage certificate. When people talk about hiking the Kumano Kodo, they're usually referring to one of the 3 main routes. The Nakahechi, or the Imperial Route, is the most popular route, and it's the focus of this video. It's a classic mountain pilgrimage that runs about 68 kilometers and includes visits to all 3 grand shrines. The Ohechi, or the coastal route, follows the coastline and offers incredible ocean views. It's about 90 kilometers. It has gentler elevation compared to the inland routes. The Kohechi, or the mountain route, spans roughly 70 kilometers from Koyosan to Kumano Hongu Taisha. It's a steep, remote, and much more demanding trail compared to Nakahechi, with several high mountain passes. For first-time visitors, I definitely recommend the Nakahechi route. It gives you the full Kumano Kodo experience without being too challenging technically. It can be completed by anyone who's a fit walker, healthy enough to hike between 8 to 14 kilometers per day. Now let's talk logistics. To get to Kumano Kodo trailhead, you'll first fly into Japan. The closest international airport is located in Osaka. From Osaka, you'll then take the limited express train to Wakayama Prefecture and stop at Tanabe Station. This journey takes about 2 hours and 15 minutes. From Tanabe train station, you'll need to take the local bus to reach the trailhead. This ride takes about 30 minutes. I'll talk more about the bus system later in this video. For now, just know that it will take roughly 3 to 4 hours of travel time from Osaka. Add 2 to 3 hours if you're traveling from Tokyo. Depending on when you arrive, you might want to plan a day 0 before you actually start hiking. I went straight from Osaka to the trailhead in 1 day, but many hikers choose to spend the night in Tanabe first. It makes for a more relaxed start to the journey. You may be wondering, when's the best time to hike the Kumano Kodo? Honestly, it depends on what kind of experience you're looking for. Spring and autumn are the most popular seasons. From March through May, you'll get mild temperatures and blooming flowers. But it's a busy season and accommodations fill up quickly. In October and November, you'll enjoy comfortable hiking weather and colorful foliage in the mountains. It's probably the most photogenic season of all. Summer on the Kumano Kodo can be tough. The heat and humidity are no joke, and June is also the raining season, so expect slippery trails. Winter is the quietest season. December through February brings colder temperatures, sometimes even a dusting of snow on the passes. It's peaceful, accommodations are easier to book, and the hot springs feel amazing after a chilly hike. The downside is shorter daylight hours and the chance that icy sections might make some trails more challenging and potentially dangerous. For this video, we're focusing on the Nakahechi route. Depending on how much time and energy you have, the full Nakahechi can be done in 4, 5, or 6 days. 4 days means very long hiking days. You'll need a good fitness level and should plan for about 14 to 25 kilometers of hiking per day. Taking 5 or 6 days lets you savor the shrines, onsens, and mountain villages at a gentler pace. Here's a sample 6-day itinerary. On day 1, hike from Takejiri Oji to Takahara. This section covers about 4 kilometers of steady uphill. It gains roughly 350 meters of elevation with no major descents, and ends at a small village of Takahara. On day 2, hike from Takahara to Tsugizakura Oji. This section covers 13 kilometers, and you'll be gaining and losing 450 meters overall. Along the way, you'll pass mossy shrines, giant cedar trees, and catch glimpses of mountain valleys. On day 3, continue the journey towards Kumano Hongu Taisha. This section stretches about 21 kilometers. After a long day of hiking, you'll finally drop down to the Kumano River Valley and end at the Grand Shrine of Hongu. Day 4 is a rest day. It's well worth planning a rest day in the Hongu area. Slow down, soak in the mineral-rich waters of one of the 3 nearby hot springs villages, and let the trail miles melt away. In particular, Yunomini Onsen, said to be over 1800 years old, is one of Japan's most scenic baths. You can also wander over to Oyunohara, the original site of Kumano Hongu Taisha by the Kumano River, where a massive flood in 1889 destroyed it and forced the shrine's relocation. Today, these grounds are marked by Japan's largest torii gate. On day 5, hike from Hongu to Koguchi. It's 13 kilometers of mostly forested mountain trail, with around 800 meters of ascent and 700 meters of descent. You'll finish at the quiet riverside village of Koguchi, the last stop before the challenging final day of hiking. On day 6, hike from Koguchi to Kumano Nachi Taisha. You'll hike up and over remote forest ridges before descending into the sacred grounds of Kumano Nachi Taisha and the spectacular Nachi Falls, Japan's tallest single-drop waterfall. This is what I ended up doing, hiking just the most scenic sections. It's perfect for you if you're short on time or want a more relaxed pace. If you want to see what it feels like hiking the most scenic sections of the Kumano Kodo, I'll link to my previous video where I share my experience hiking the Kumano Kodo at a leisurely pace. Let's go over the lodging options you have on the Kumano Kodo. These are traditional Japanese inns, often with hot springs baths and meals included. They are the premium option and book up the fastest. Minshuku are Japanese-style guest houses, usually family-run. Many will pack you a lunch for the next day's hike. Often you'll have a private room with shared bathrooms. There are some Western-style hotels. They are more common in gateway towns such as Tanabe and Katsura. Hostels are budget-friendly options, and they're great for meeting other hikers. You can book all of your accommodations on the Kumano travel website if you start your planning process early enough. Many of the minshukus are available exclusively on Kumano travel website. If you start too late, the accommodations in the middle section of the trail will probably be fully booked. If you're not able to book accommodations in those places, you'll be limited to staying at gateway towns like Tanabe, Hongu, and Katsura. This could make hiking the full Nakahechi trail challenging because you'll have to rely on taking the bus to and from the trailheads at the end of each section hike. And since the buses run infrequently, this means your accommodation choices could end up dictating your hiking itinerary. Let's talk about something that initially seemed super intimidating, but actually turned out to be easy to manage: the local bus system. The bus system is reliable, but runs infrequently. We're talking about buses every 1 to 2 hours, not every 15 minutes like in the city. So it's important to check the bus schedule each day and plan your hike accordingly. I will include links to the bus schedule in the video description. Google Maps is also a pretty reliable source for bus scheduling information, so be sure to check that out as well. You may be wondering, what are you going to do with your travel luggage, as you don't want to carry them up and over these mountain trails on Kumano Kodo? Well, you have a couple of options. The first is to arrange for luggage transportation. You can reserve for this service on Kumano travel website. They will forward your luggage to your next accommodation, so you only have to hike with your day pack. The second option is to store your luggage somewhere and pick them up once you're done with the hike. This is the option I went with. I stored my luggage in Osaka and arrived in Tanabe with my hiking backpack. If you want to know what I carried and how I pack my gear, I will share all of that in my next video. As a solo female hiker, safety was my top concern. Now, in terms of travel safety, Japan is one of the safest countries in the world. Of course, you'll always want to be aware of your surroundings and be alert at all times, as you would when traveling anywhere in the world. In Tanabe and Katsura, I walked at night by myself to convenience stores and back. I felt very safe on both occasions. Now, in terms of trail safety, there are a few things to watch out for when hiking the Nakahechi. There are bears in this area, and with bear sightings on the rise in Japan recently, you'll want to travel with a bear bell at the minimum. I talked to many hikers on the trail while hiking, and nobody was particularly concerned with running into bears. I think because Nakahechi is such a popular trail, you're never really hiking by yourself for long stretches. So I wouldn't worry about bear attacks on the Nakahechi. Carry bear bells, and maybe get a bear spray if you are really worried. Another concern on the trail is the weather. Thunderstorms could arrive quickly on the trail, so you'll want to be prepared with rain gear and watch out for slippery trails. Trekking poles could come in handy, and if you didn't bring yours, you can pick up a walking stick at a few shops along the trail. So that's my complete guide to hiking the Kumano Kodo. Whether you end up doing the full trail or just sections like I did, I think you're going to find that it's one of those travel experiences that stays with you long after you get home. If you haven't seen my 4-day Kumano Kodo vlog yet, I'll link it here. If you have any questions about planning for your Kumano Kodo hike, feel free to ask them in the comments. If this Kumano Kodo guide was helpful, please like and subscribe for more hiking and outdoor travel content. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.